dreams. And he was able to find the missionaries, and they were Heber C. Kimball, Willard Richards, Orson Hyde, and Joseph Fielding. And so after they found them, he asked them if they had a book. And this was the book that he saw in his dreams. And he'd been having this dream for years about this book. And he read it in 3 days. He was so, say it night and day in reading it. And he was the first Jewish person to be baptized into the church. And he decided to come to Nauvoo. He wanted to meet the prophet, prophet Joseph Smith. And so he and his family reached Nauvoo, and he developed a very close relationship with Joseph Smith, who he gave lessons in German and in Hebrew. And then, of course, Joseph was assassinated, and so he came on to Utah after that. And it was said that he was a dentist. He was the first dentist in Utah, and he was a very, very intelligent man. And he and his wife had 14 children. And when anyone came into the valley, he was the first one to meet them. That was his job that he felt like was his, and he would go out and meet them. So he was an outstanding man. That's his picture that I was sending around. But most of the Jewish settlers that came to West were young unmarried men. And, with no families, but the pioneer men had wives and families to support, but these were single people. And they often worked as merchants or clerks, and they would live in the back of the store and sleep there. And so and it was really hard. The Jewish people have very strict dietary rules, and it was about impossible to keep that going for these young men. Let's see. The development of the mining industry brought more men and money from California, because that ended and they came, and there were so many mines coming out in Utah that they all came there. And Nevada, clothing and household items were hard to find. Most of the earliest merchants in Utah were non-Mormon. Some of the other merchants were brothers. They helped each other. All the Jewish people kind of helped one another. When one came in, they found each other, and they helped them get established and fed them till they were on their own. It seems like, though, that the merchants were getting quite wealthy. And some of the LDS store owners decided that maybe they were charging too much, because why were they so wealthy and doing so much? And so the LDS church purchased 6 Mormon businesses and 1 Jewish-owned store, and opened up under ZCMI. And the church members were highly encouraged to shop at the ZCMI stores. And for a time, this seemed to threaten the existence of the Jewish merchants. But they would just, instead of staying in Salt Lake, would go to other towns, mining towns, and they still thrived. And the mining industry started about 1810, and the church members, 1870, I think, 1870, and the members, church members started not following the advice of the church leaders, and they were shopping where they wanted to shop. And so that didn't quite work out. And gradually, the church eased their rules about where you could shop. And the ZCMI flourished, and so did the Jewish markets at the time. In 1861, when Johnson's army was coming to Utah, there were also Jewish wagons coming with them to supply food. And a lot of them came that way, supply wagons. And then they settled at Camp Floyd, and they were bringing supplies there also.